All right, it says I'm live. I got nobody in the chat. So I'm going to sit here and run my giblets about nothing. I'm going to give myself a like. And tra la la la. Oh, there's somebody. Well, I don't know who you are yet, but I see that you're here, so hello. If you don't mind, tell me who you are. Say hi or something in the chat there, and I can see your channel name. Probably the only person in the world that's interested in talking to me is my wife. Well, oh, there's a second. Well, once again, I don't know who's in here, but I can see that there are two people. I haven't seen any chats come across yet, so I don't know who you are, but hello and welcome to our channel and to our third live stream. And Dave, thanks. Oh, hi, Rebecca. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that, but really not all the time, Dave. So I don't even know how this title shows up on Facebook, or not Facebook. Goodness gracious. On YouTube. Hello, Amy. How are you? Glad to have you along for the ride. And Foxy the Tractor Man. Okay, Mr. the Tractor Man, would you take a moment and give me an idea of where you came up with the first part of your name, if you don't mind? The Foxy part. I got to tell you, I have several siblings. However, none of them are with both my dad and my mom. So two of my half sisters have the last name of Fox, and one of them calls herself Foxy Mama on some of her things, like maybe her Twitter name or whatever that is called. I don't know, but I see it Foxy Mama, and their dad's nickname was Hey Foxy. Everybody called him Hey Foxy. So I'm just curious how you came up with that name, if it has to do with your real name or if you think you're that good looking or what. But anyway, my title that I put for this live is Let's Talk About Some Real Life Effects of Social Media. I was listening to a news station, somebody open or something. Nothing major, but I went out. My little sprout, he likes to go out as often as possible. And with it being hot, especially out in the sun and with the humidity, so he doesn't, and it went straight from being cold and wet, or actually comfortable and wet, to fair enough, Foxy. So he hasn't been outside a whole lot, and he doesn't like to stay around the house. He doesn't like being cooped up. It'd be different if we had enough land to go out and run and do some real lengthy time work on, and just be out there playing. But he likes to make a trip to the store, so that's what we do every now and then, like way too often. You can come up and say hi. But on my way back from that, I was listening to a story, and we were talking about the effects of social media on people. Not right now, because there's no. And they were talking in that article, and I keep calling it an article. It's a story, whatever you want to call it. They were saying things about like how plastic surgery has went up by 17 or 18% in the age group to be looking for various types of plastic surgery that is elective plastic surgery, to grow to 70% more than the generation before. And they're blaming that all on social media because you go on, for example, Snapchat, and those filters, they can make you glow. So nobody else feels that they look good enough without the glow. And we can get some plastic surgery to get the glow, or bigger eyes, or puffier lips. And they referenced one of the Jenner girls. Hello, Homestead in the Highlands. Welcome, and we're glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Um, Kaylee, I don't know. She's supposedly first of all, no, she's not self-made. She's riding on her sister's coattails, and y'all don't even, if you don't know, you don't want to know what her sister did to get famous. Um, so that girl, I'm not saying she doesn't work hard and she doesn't have a good product. I think it's makeup. I'm not even sure. But everybody wants to be her after 2015 when she got puffy lips. The plastic surgery went up to get puffy lips just hugely. And Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, or I don't know if he's a founder, but the owner, Rebecca, I do think that Facebook was specifically designed to be addictive. And I heard that story, and my wife and I had already been talking about trying to lessen our amount of screen time. We have found that it is just a time suck. You can get on, my case, Facebook. I can get on Facebook, and before I know it, 45 minutes to an hour is gone, and I feel like I've only been on there for 5 minutes. And so I heard that, and we had already been talking things when I'm on Facebook. I'm an admin on, obviously, Loma Acres Homestead's page, although it's our page just as much as Loma Acres Homestead is our page, and a couple of other pages that I'm not going to mention because it doesn't matter. I'll get on there and check notifications on that, and I will give on my phone 2 to 3 scrolls, and I'm done. At least for a few hours. But I've gotten that way with television as what I watch, and then I'm done. I don't sit there and try to find something else. My wife and I have actually been discussing new ones to replace them, because it's a time suck. But not only is it a time suck, really, excuse me, my wife is a nurse, and she has access to medical studies that, while I don't want to say they're unavailable to the general public, I will say that they're not. And she said that she found a study where they took people's phones and computer access away from them. And for the first 30 days, these people had legitimate physical withdrawal symptoms, shakes like a person coming off of too much alcohol. And I don't remember what other symptoms she said, but it physical withdrawal symptoms from withdrawing off of having a screen in front of our face. Now, there's been concern about that with TV for 50 years or better. And now they're proving it more and more because we have such ready access to different screens. So I want to suggest to everybody, limit your time. And what time you do use on there, go in with a purpose and follow that purpose till the end, and then be done with it. Now, again, I don't want to tell you how to use your time. You do what you want to do. It's just a suggestion of mine. That's just for you personally. And if you have children, I suggest monitoring their time too, and making sure that they understand that this is a computer image. What you see of me, I look pretty similar in person to what I look like on the screen. But there are some people who do so much Photoshop, or I think that's the name of the app, where they touch up their this or that blemish, and there are people who, well, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the Snapchat filters and so on and so forth. And you got to make sure, especially when they're young, that your children understand this is a computer image and it's not what this person really looks like. Um, I just am telling you that from my point of view. Again, I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life and you have to do this. I wouldn't even do that if I was the president of the United States. I'm just saying this is my recommendation and this is what it's based on. And I hope that you research some of that stuff for yourself. There's nothing on for me to pause, my child. Go. I don't know what you're doing, but no. I said no.
Why?
Dave, I believe that's correct. I did notice that even in myself that I would, if I wasn't looking down a certain amount of time in a day, my neck was sore. But then if I was looking up, if I was looking down too much, my neck was sore. And I think it's a sad situation that we as a species need to correct with a quickness. Good Lord, I don't know about EMPs and the like, but what if one of them happened? Would anybody know what to do? Or would we be stuck trying to our phone? What do we do? What do we do? It's a sad state. And a couple lives ago, I talked about how did I get into homesteading or what brought this about, and that's part of it too. We were stuck on stupid. Stupid being our phones and our Kindles and notepads or notebooks and whatever else. With that, I'm not going to belabor the point. I don't have a problem with social media for social media. I obviously use it. It helps me to reach people and teach people. It helps me to stay somewhat in contact with my friends. I'm not playing cards right now. I'm doing this. We can play cards when it's done. When it's done, okay? No, here, not right now. Little Sprout, everybody. I will just give a quick update. We do have some videos in the works. We apologize for the delay, but at the same time, I'm sure there's not a person who watches my channel that doesn't know that we have a work schedule and we've had some crazy weather. So we haven't had a lot of homesteading activities, if you will. My wife just reminded me we had a power outage on Thursday night. I was actually watching Two Family Homesteads channel review, and I watch everything from my phone, and we share a plan with so many gigabytes of data per month. So I try not to use that data for anything that I don't have to. I mean, if I need to use a GPS to get somewhere, I'll use it. And very rarely do I look at Facebook Messenger even when I'm not on Wi-Fi. But I was watching that, and all of a sudden our power went out, which means our Wi-Fi went out. So I very quickly said goodbye to the Two Family chat, told them what was going on, and I left. And my goodness, my 19 and 15-year-old were pretty rough. Oh, I don't know what to do. They weren't quite, I don't know what to do. And poor me, the world's coming to an end. But it was kind of close. But my 5-year-old, my goodness, he couldn't play on his Kindle and he couldn't watch a show on his Kindle, even though nobody could watch a show on TV. Oh, he thought the world was coming to an end for him. And that leads even more to, we all know and we see that it's addictive, and we need to be super, super careful with what we're doing and with what our children are doing. And I'm not even talking about the obvious stuff and the stuff that you've seen in the news the last several years, where such and such 13-year-old little girl was found to be meeting, a 30-year-old guy, or even farther spread in age from younger children to older men. And it's not just little girls meeting older men. It's little boys meeting older men. It's little boys and little girls meeting older women. And that can lead to so many things. And just mind your children. Mind yourself, mind your children. Social media isn't all bad, but it's not all good. So, stressing my point one more time, be careful and pay attention. All right, quickly, we have more videos coming up. The weather is finally straightened out a little bit. Like I said earlier, it went from comfortable but super, super wet down to dry, bone dry. Now I'm already having to water everything again, to 90 plus degrees. It's actually not 90 plus. I think one day it did get over 90, but it was like 92. And then the past several days, other than that, it's been way in the upper 80s. Asa, get off the stairs. The humidity has been not horrible, but not great either. Genetry Homestead, hello, glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Not right now. I'm still on this live web. Well, I usually do them for about an hour, but I may last not as long. I may last longer. We'll see what everybody's commenting and how Daddy's conversation goes with people. So we're back to being able to do some outside work, and I'm sure you all don't do it. I'm sure you all have been gracious enough to go look at some of the videos we've got up of what we've done and some of the inside work. My wife's soap making skills. How is she? What? Say it loud and proud.
She is a medical ninja. My mom is a medical.
Oh, his mom's a medical ninja. We think so anyway. We have both of our beehives are up and running super well. I'm so much more comfortable with where they are at this point this year than what my hives were last year. So hopefully, if things keep going the way they are, they'll have plenty of food stored for the winter. Maybe I'll even get lucky and be able to pull some honey next spring. Last year, I was feeding them right about 1 quart per week of the 1-to-1 sugar water. These bees are going through just slightly less than 2 quarts per week. If I change them on Friday, then by Wednesday I have to go back and change them again. Now, I change them on Wednesday, they're not quite ready to get a new quart of feed, but they are close. They're more than halfway through it, and I'm not going to give you the details of how I save everything. I mean, anybody can do that the way they want to and whatnot, but so they're doing a lot better. I am watching them pretty much every day. I'll look at one of my hives or both of them, and I will see a tremendous amount of bees going out and coming back in, and they're coming in with their hind legs, their pollen pockets full, and without getting in the hive, that is one of the biggest signs you can say of hives are healthy and doing well. We did not record when I went to the orchard and did an inspection for that hive, but when I did that inspection, I didn't find the queen, but I did find the sign that she was in there. The girls were very active. So once I found the sign, they weren't being aggressive and telling me to get out of their hive, but they were they were letting it be known that we're busy. Let us do our work. So I found the sign that everything was doing good, and I put the frames back in, and it was time to put that extra hive or brood box on. So both of my hives are already with brood boxes, both brood boxes. You feel better? um, so that is a month ahead of where we were last year at this time. From the very first beehive bee video we've got in our bee playlist, you guys saw that most of the frames I showed in that video were covered in wax, and a lot of them had dead bees and whatnot. I went ahead and scraped those all the way down to bare foundation, and I let them sit out in the sun for quite a while to get some UV on them and in essence sanitize them. And that's how we've got our brood boxes set up. They're starting to pull the wax on those right now. A week from today, by a week from today, we'll have our garden tilled and some seedlings planted. Hopefully our stuff can catch up. But again, I haven't looked at the weather towards the end of the week. So the very minute I commit to that without question and without caveat for weather, the weather will hit again and we won't be able to do anything. But as it looks right now, we're going to be finishing up our garden planting and whatnot. I did go out and pull 5 cucumbers, and there are quite a number of other ones that are started at an inch or better. So probably in the next few days, I'll have more cucumbers. Today, that's all I pulled. I got the chance to take Little Sprout into the corn patches and showed him how corn pollination. I didn't show him the activity of the little boy pollen going down to the girl silks, but I showed him that up there is boy pollen and that's what it looks like. And once you see what it looks like there, you can look down in here to the girl part of the plants and you can see where that pollination is happening, and told him that that's what's going to make the corn cobs that we're going to eat and maybe even save some seeds, because that's something we're going to try to do this year is seed saving. I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to be researching it. Remember, I told y'all last time on a live, if I don't know something, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I do. When I learn it, I'm going to tell you I'm learning it. Well, that's something I'm learning. Also, just back for a second to the bees and the beeswax. Where my beeswax was bad in any way, shape, or form, whether it had some mold on it, whether it had some dead bees in it or whatnot, I left a fair amount of space, an inch or better, between any bad wax and any good wax. And I kept the good wax and I went ahead and threw the bad wax just in the trash. If any other beekeepers are watching this, I wouldn't mind hearing what your thoughts are. While I'm sure, and I know you ask 10 beekeepers, you're going to get 100 opinions. I'm sure there are people who say, no, you should have thrown it all away. And I'm sure there are going to be other people who say, oh, you could have kept it all because when you render the wax, everything that's in it could die. Genetry, when you get a chance, do you have previous experience with that, or is this something new for you as well? And to Family Homestead, hello, welcome, glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you give us some input here on some things you know about. We're talking about some seed saving now, and we were talking about our bees here in the past few minutes. So I'm a beekeeper wannabe, and I love the way you spelled that. So many people in the beekeeping hobby and even commercial, they do that all the time. Anytime they say be all you can be, it's spelled like bee, honeybee. Well, I'm excited to learn this with you, and I have a lady who It was probably 2 years ago now. I think it was two Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving that just passed, it was not it, but the one before, I was working on her deck, and she offered to give us some guidance. She's an older lady whose husband was a farmer up till the time he passed, and part of what they did was seed save. And I just hadn't got back in contact with her. Well, amazingly enough, now that I'm doing some of this homesteading stuff, a tree fell on that deck that we built, and it's a sad situation, of course. But I get to go back and do her deck again. She asked the general contractor that we worked with on her deck the first time to make sure we were the crew that came back. So I will be definitely talking to her. And an interesting note, she gave us 10 laying hens when we were done with that deck. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep them here, so I took them and gave them to my cousin. But it just well, as a contractor, little neat things like that happen. But I hope to learn a lot, and I hope to pass that information on to a lot of people, and I hope what I do works. I'm going to be doing some research here soon, and pretty soon we'll have a video up on how to render beeswax. But I was mentioning, there are going to be people in the bee community saying you should have thrown all that wax away, and other ones that are saying you should keep it. And I'm not going to keep all of that, the moldy and where the dead bees were, because what we use our beeswax for is products that you put directly on your lips. And I don't think anybody would want to know that, oh, this was moldy beeswax once, but I'm going to spread it on my lips because they got it hot. I like to be able to say, no, we don't keep bad beeswax. So that was my thinking there. Hopefully I did the right thing and didn't be too wasteful. I did leave the rest of it somewhere where if the bees want to make use of it, they can. Bees are probably the cleanest animal, or shall we say the most hygienic animal on Earth. I don't know on Earth, but it seems like it. So they will know if they can use it or not. And if they can, great. If not, it'll decompose into the ground. But again, we got garden. Oh, and I've got some other videos we've been touching on a little bit here and there. We want to make sure that they're just right. Some of the videos we put up are just right enough because I don't ever script anything. I have an idea of what I want to say. In the first few videos, yes, I did have notes, but it wasn't even scripted out. It was just notes on some facts and figures. And I wanted to make sure in those videos that I did get those facts and figures right. But the rest of it was ad-libbed with the general direction of where we're going. But some of these videos that we've been working on, they're very heartfelt, and therefore we want to make sure we get the message across that we want to get across. And it's really more about our heart and where we come from. And that's one of them. And another one is a collaboration video. And everybody else did a fairly serious thing. Well, it was with the Doe Code, that collaboration. Everybody else that I've seen did a fairly serious thing, although I think there was one that did something kind of funny. Ours is kind of want to be a mix of funny and serious, but I don't want some of the serious stuff in that video might get some other people like PETA up in arms. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that video in such a way that it doesn't cause someone else problems. Duncan 1800, welcome. We're glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by. So anyway, we're just trying to make sure that these videos they don't cause problems for anybody else, because they were viewed at, some of the video has been videoed on people's farms. Well, if I want to talk about a negative and I happen to be on their farm and then someone else happens to, oh, this happened in such and such place. I mean, you see some of those videos online where PETA sent an undercover person in, and some of that stuff's pretty bad and it shouldn't happen. I will readily admit that. But I happen to know on these farms, there's nothing bad happening. The animals are given the best possible life they can. But if I say something the wrong way, some people can get crazy stupid. And I just want to make sure we're being real careful about that. So we're taking some extra time on those and making sure we get them right. I just kind of noticed about a comment I made on another beekeeping video. So let me clear that out of there. I get distracted easy. Sorry about that. That's kind of the upcoming stuff on the homestead. Of course, there's the Homesteaders of America conference. I'm super excited about that. Like I can't wait. We were going to go to that. My wife doesn't know this part, but we were going to go to that whether we got to be vendors or not. And we just happened to be granted the Genetry. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Have a good night. Enjoy your dinner. We are going up there to sell soaps and the like, and that just happens to be something we can do. We're very excited about that. But that's clear off in October. Of course, yes, little Sprout.
Just got stuck in the spider web.
Well, that happens. It's probably not a bee. It was probably a fly, but that's all right. The Bayou Bash is coming up. Oh, I would have loved to have gone to that, but it's a little short notice for us. Stivers, the event in September in Kentucky. I told my wife, you might be calling in sick if you can't get off to that, because I want to go down to that one. I don't know how many people that are watching right now. There are 3 people watching. I would say at least 2 of you watch the Stivers on a regular basis. So happy and so energetic on everything. Well, I don't know if energetic's the right word. They know where they're going with this video and they're doing it, and it's all smiles all the time. And I really want to go down and meet them in person and be a support to the event they're putting on. And those 2 things for sure we're going to. I know we're not going to be able to make Doug and Stacy's event in Missouri. Already mentioned the Bayou Bash. Probably not the Hootenanny either. I bring all of that up to say, sorry I can't go to the ones I can't go to. I'm excited to go to the ones I can. And for those 3 of you watching right now, and anybody who may watch in the future, who watches lives after they're not, who watches lives after they're no longer live, I don't know. But if some people got together in Ohio and scheduled something, I don't know what we would name it, but a meetup of some sort of homesteaders, would there be enough interest for us to make that? Would it be worthwhile for us to do that? Would there be enough interest? So those of you who are watching, if you would say yay or nay, and anybody who happens to look this far, and I'm going to actually make another video, and I'll put this question in a regular video so some people might hear it as well. There were a couple of us that talked about doing it this year, but we just knew it was too short a notice to do anything. Excuse me a second, guys. I got something over here, and I don't want it to spill. Little Sprouts. Little sprouting. He's just running around. It's just something I think is really neat, seeing the other channels that have done these. And I know that the couple of things that we've got to go to, which weren't really homesteader. They weren't put on by homesteaders per se. Like we went to Lehman's, and they had a bunch of homesteading YouTubers and whatnot there, but it wasn't a homesteader event, like the Shindig, like the Hootenanny, like the Bayou Bash, Homesteaders of America, etc. It wasn't like that, although it probably wasn't horribly different. I don't know, Two Family, if you're still there, you've been to a couple of those. Would you say that it was, would you say that what happened up at Lehman's was pretty close to or very, very different than the Shindig, for example? Jim Stark, hello. Thanks for stopping by. We're glad to have you. And then Duncan 1900. Well, we'll get to meet you at the HOA in Virginia. To me, that's what this homesteading community is all about, is community. And that's why when we can go to like Lehman's, even though that wasn't exactly a homesteaders event, it still got us together with some other homesteaders, and it was neat because everybody there, while we are very different, we're very much the same. You know, we may have different religious beliefs even within inside, for example, Christianity. There are so many different religious beliefs within Christianity, but if you go outside of that and say different beliefs, there were Muslims up there, there were Jewish people up there, there were obviously a number of Christians up there of various denominations. We're all very different, but then at the same time, we're all very much the same, looking at how can we help better our own health and better our planet's health. How can we be more self-sufficient? And we found that community with each other. And to me, that's what I like about going to these events. And then Duncan 1900, yes, I agree and understand. You can only go to so many a year somewhere, not counting the admission and the lodging and the food that you eat differently than when you're at home, and the car maintenance. You do an oil change before and after. If you're going, from Ohio to California for an event, you drive. That's 2 oil changes, and I wouldn't do that. I'm just throwing an example out there. Little Creek Homestead, thanks for stopping by. Hello, we're glad to have you. We hope you feel comfortable and welcome. And Pete's Little Homestead, welcome and glad to have you as well. So that's what I was just saying. I was talking to Brett Broussard by Facebook chat today on the live he did. We just didn't know about it in time. I don't know if we could have gone anyway, because once again, everything costs money, and there's only so much money that we bring in. And as much as we like the community, I'm not going to go into debt to do stuff like that. Sorry guys, I had a little something in my eye, and it's been aggravating me the whole time. Okay. I mean, we are big fans of Dave Ramsey in our household. I don't think he's the be all end all of money management, but he's got some great points. And one of the biggest points is if you don't need it and you don't have cash for it, then you really don't need it. And for us, a trip to various states to attend homesteaders events right now is definitely something we don't need because we don't have cash for it. And that's just life. But I'm glad to go when I can go, and that's why I'm just wondering if anybody would be interested in something in Ohio. It would definitely, without question, be at least next summer if we do it. And I'll just leave it at that because I'm not going to do it solo. There are a few other YouTube channels that are in Ohio that I would definitely like to have involved if there's enough interest, A, and B, if they want to do it. They may not have the time or energy to do it, and I certainly understand that. I know I don't have the time or energy to do it solo. Um, and we'll just leave that at that because there has not been anybody on here that said they're interested. So, Pete's Little Homestead, I am in Western Ohio, um, pretty central as far as north and south goes, maybe just slightly north of center. I am roughly 25 miles north of the city of Dayton. Um, yeah, Duncan, it adds up quick. I was debating on, and I still am debating on what we're going to do as far as are we going to take one of our vehicles or are we going to rent one to go over to the HOA? And I honestly, I think I'm leaning towards renting one, even though it's going to cost more money that way. Right out of the gate, it may cost less in the long run to not have to pay for maintenance on my vehicle. What if I'm going and my vehicle engine decides to blow? I'm not saying that'll happen. I certainly hope it won't, but what if? Freedom using Farm and Arbor. Hello, welcome, and thank you very much for stopping by. We hope you feel welcome and comfortable here. Across from Portsmouth, so you're in South Shore. No, wait a minute. Across from Portsmouth. Okay, listen, I used to live in Greenup, so yeah, South Shore is what I meant to say. I used to live in the city of Greenup, inside of the county of Greenup, Kentucky. Out Route 2, I don't know, about 7 miles out Route 2 from where it crosses 23. So that was some great number of years ago, 30 years ago probably, that I was a kid. So I kind of know the area. And well, welcome to my channel. I would go back down there and stay in a minute. My wife, however, would not. And it's just because we had a rough trip down there one time when we were just barely dating each other. We went down for something, and it turned out to be like 900 people. But everything I hear from the few people I still talk to from down there, they're just, even as booming as the economy is, there's just nothing there as far as jobs. So that would be no for us. But I don't know. I also am one who believes in when you walk away from something, and in my instance, it was my parents, my dad walking away from that area. I just washed my feet of it. So to go back and visit friends or something like that is one thing, but to live back there, no. But that's the way I look at life anyway. Let's see. I don't know. I don't have much more else that I really had planned to talk about. I am more than happy to. Pete's Homestead, Pete's Little Homestead. Sydney's about. Well, if you know Sydney, then you know where I live. I'm 2 towns south of there. I don't want to just blatantly say the name out there because if somebody, well, it's just a safety thing. We can be found if somebody wants to. There's no question about that, but I don't want to make it as easy as possible either. What, bud?
Are you almost done?
We're getting close. We're getting close.
How much time do you have?
Well, I don't know. Somebody's starting to ask questions, so I'm going to answer their questions. He keeps saying he wants to do something, but then he changes what it is every time. So I'd be glad to answer any further questions anybody has. I think I've kind of laid out our plans for the next few videos without necessarily titling them here. I don't want to just throw a title out there because we actually kind of, once we get to the end of the video, we we have a working title already. It gets a little more narrowed down, and then we get it all edited, and we look at it again, and we're like, yes, this title's great, or no, we want to do something a little different. And by the way, Pete's Little Homestead, I apologize for just throwing the name of your city out there the way I did, especially considering I won't throw mine out there. That I'm sorry about that. That's something I shouldn't have done. I hope you understand that sometimes, like when I get excited, I'm like, oh, somebody's from where I'm from, and you live in such and such. I'm very sorry about throwing that out there like that. Anyway, we've got these few videos, and I know I've been talking about a couple of them for a while. They're coming soon. I appreciate everybody who's been in and out. I appreciate everybody who's stayed the whole time. As always, thank you very much to my moderators and everybody who is still in here. Please take a few moments and look at the other channels who are in here. Don't just blindly subscribe to them, and definitely don't do the one thing that's not allowed from YouTube. But give the other channels a glance at least. And if you think you might like them, maybe watch a video or two, give them a subscription, etc. You know how it goes. One last thing, we are up around about 270 subscribers. We've been saying once we get to 500 subscribers, we've got another giveaway to do. And we do have another set of tickets to the Homesteaders of America conference to give away. We were hoping to wait until we get to 500 subscribers, but we also know that if someone's going to go to that, they got to be able to plan for it. If you guys do not mind, we would be most appreciative if you would send your friends our way if you think they're interested in what we do. We would like to get up there, like I said, to 500 subscribers. If we don't get there by, I believe we decided August 1st. If we don't get there by August 1st, that's going to be our giveaway date. So what we will do is we will look, assuming we don't get there, we will look a few days before that, and we will decide, and we will put out a video, one of our normal videos, and we will just announce in there, this is what you've got to do to get entered into this giveaway, and here it is. Agreed, Duncan. The editing, and it's not, my wife does our editing, and she's got some software for it, but for us, it just takes absolutely forever. And I don't know, it could be our computer, it could be our internet, it could be a combination of both. And hopefully we can get past that. But and she's really pretty technically advanced. I call myself technologically illiterate, and she's technologically very educated. She's not like Daryl from Two Family Homestead, but Pete, I appreciate that. But yeah, editing is the what are you doing, you silly goose? Little Sprouts being silly. Yep, you had on a thingamabob. So, anyway, we'd appreciate the help. We're glad to give the help as well. Like I said, make sure you look at each other's channels, and if you think that there's a chance you like what they're putting out, definitely. He is a cutie. He's a ham, is what he is. He likes the attention. Look at him. He'll cut me off from you. And he'll be doing this all night probably. Who knows what he's thinking he looks like? But oh well. He's 5 and he's got an imagination. So you're a silly goose. That's what you are. With that, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more of the wrapping up. I've got to go out to my hive that's a little farther away, and I've got to give them their food. I did not make it out on Friday. Shame on me. Actually, I don't remember what I did on Friday. I think I didn't go Friday because I was there later. I was there at an oddball time earlier in the week to feed them, so I know they had a couple extra days. So I've got to go out and do that tonight. My wife is going to be putting up some new pictures on her website for the soaps and sundries. If one of you lovely moderators wouldn't mind, grab the link to it's in our banner on our page to Loma Soaps and Sundries and throw in here for anybody that may have interest in some homesteader soap. She's got a new one out. You saw the video of her making it. You're a goof, and you're a boy through and through. It is. She made the Better Than Grandma's lye soap. That stuff's amazing. My gosh, it's some of the smoothest. And I mean, she makes great soaps, and she has for a while. But this stuff here, this new stuff. Hey, no, get back in here and shut the door. I mean, I'm not a girl, but I got girl skin from this, and it smells. You could almost eat it. Be careful. Come on in out of the kitchen. I don't want you out there getting hurt. Come on.
I was messing with the eggs.
But we're gonna be doing bee feed. Okay, we got dinner, feed the bees, and get the website updated. And that's the rest of our day, and probably more than our day, but that's gonna be the rest of our day. And then of course we've got to go back to work tomorrow. So doesn't everybody? Oh, it's gonna be Monday. I just had a Monday yesterday. No, I just had a Monday on Friday. Everything that could go wrong that day did. I'll explain that to you in a minute. But now I've got a real Monday coming up, as I'm sure everybody else does and understands. So I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. Once again, moderators, thank you very much. Everybody who stayed on, thank you very much. And we appreciate all your help, and give each other a look and a subscribe. Y'all have a good night. Make sure you remember, no matter how good it is, no matter how bad it is, this is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. And y'all, if I can figure out how to shut this thing down. Oh, there it is. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.